according to a University of Houston analysis, more than 16,000 additional babies were born in Texas in 2022 compared to 2021 after the state banned almost all abortions after 6 weeks of pregnancy. A new Texas Tribune article looks at the fertility rate that's rising in the state post-Roe, which is raising some concerns around services for people with disabilities. Neelam Bohra with the Trib joins us now to discuss this. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you.
So first, let's talk about the primary concerns of lawmakers as well as advocates regarding the future of services for people with disabilities.
Yeah, well, we know that most state services that are vital to raising a child with a disability in the state of Texas are underfunded. Special education, Medicaid waiver programs, early childhood intervention programs, all of these things are programs that provide certain types of specialized care depending on the type of disability a child might have. And right now, it is very hard for a lot of families to get what they need out of certain programs, either because the programs don't provide enough or because these programs are very hard to access. There are thousands of people on wait lists for them. And so as a result, if a lot of families with children with disabilities aren't able to access them now, there are a lot of worries that as we watch the fertility rate rise and more babies are born, especially potentially more babies with disabilities, we'll see a system that is already overwhelmed being further overwhelmed, and a bigger need for even more services that aren't getting the money that they need from the state.
And in your article, you spoke to several parents of children with disabilities. What are some of the biggest barriers they're facing? I know you mentioned wait lists as well as just funding of those programs. What are some of the other unique barriers that they have to deal with?
Yeah, well, like I said, there's really two types of barriers, I think. There's one where a program, like for instance, special education, can be inconsistent depending on where you live, the school district that you're in, the amount of money they get, and how much attention and teachers and all kinds of resources they give to that program. On the other hand, you have something like waiver programs or early childhood intervention services where you need help with, let's say, childcare, or you need nursing care. Your child might need speech therapy if they have autism. And what happens is you can sign up for lots of different wait lists, like I mentioned, for these programs. And what happens is you'll get onto some, but there are some that have these growing years and years. When we talk about wait lists, it sounds like maybe it'll take a year or two. No, these families are waiting 10, 15, even 20 years sometimes to be able to finally get onto these programs. And even once they do, there are sometimes issues, first of all, staying on them, which has come up during the Medicaid unwinding, but also just accessing everything they need within the program. And what happens is we have so little money dedicated to all of these services that the agencies that manage them are doing as much as they can to distribute evenly and get to the bare minimum of services that they can provide with the money they have.
And are there any changes to public policy or any solutions on the horizon to help tackle this issue?
Yeah, well, we know that small changes have been made over every session. Lawmakers will target specific issues. I think last session, for example, they updated the dyslexia handbook for schools. They restored funding to early childhood intervention services, which were experiencing huge budget cuts around 2015. But a lot of advocates will say that they haven't seen Texas really change any of the way these programs are overall funded since for a couple decades, things have not changed. There haven't been significant improvements. Actual methods might have changed, but there's not been an improvement to the way the program functions for these families, for these children. And so that's one way things have changed. The other way things have changed is when federal government officials have stepped in. So we saw that the federal government had to come to Texas and say, you can't put a cap on the number of special education students that are identified per district, things like that, where you've had the federal government come in and say, we will threaten you with whatever. We've seen them litigate the foster care system, and changes are made in response to that. But actual changes and solutions from lawmakers have not been overarching. And so in the past session from last year, there was a large child care bill. It wasn't just for kids with disabilities. And I think it was $1 billion bill, and they ended up not passing it. But a lot of advocates even some lawmakers and experts are hoping that they really take this next session to focus on childcare, and hopefully this rising fertility rates, the ban on abortion, incentivizes them to really take the time to make sure these programs are accessible and doing what they need to be doing at the bare minimum for the families that need them.
Okay, Neelam Bohra from the Texas Tribune, thank you so much for your time and your reporting.